Hey everyone, it's Heather from Buffering Saints, and I have my husband with me.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name is Elvis.
This is the last video. Ma'am. The last video in our book club collaboration put together by Laura from What Laura Likes. We're on the fifth part of the. We're on the fifth part of the book Why We're Catholic by Trent Horn. Check out all the other collaborators down below. There'll be a link to a playlist with all their videos in it, so you can click on it and go see all their videos. I just wanted to say thank you to Laura for putting this little book club together. I've had fun doing it these last few weeks, and I've enjoyed watching everyone else's videos and getting to know everybody. So it's been really fun. I really like doing these collaborations. Today's video is about marriage, which is why my husband is here with me, because we're married. And that is the chapter that that we wanted to focus on, or that I wanted to focus on. So I was like, it'd be kind of weird to do this chapter by myself because it's about marriage. So I asked him if he would do it with me, and he said that he would. When I was reading through this chapter, in the beginning of the chapter, Trent Horn gives it the definition of marriage, of Catholic marriage. So we're specifically talking about the sacrament of marriage.
Growing up, I knew that when I got married, I was going to get married in the Catholic Church.
I didn't.
I mean, as I got older, I started realizing the difference between like civil marriage and Catholic marriage, or getting married in the church. I mean, and then it wasn't until we actually got together and we were talking about marriage was when it got serious, with like, which way are we going to get married? Are we going to get married in the church, or are we going to get married, I guess, by some sort of officiate?
Well, and it's kind of funny that you bring that up too, because I was Protestant. Even when we got engaged, I was so Protestant. I didn't seriously consider becoming Catholic until like halfway through our engagement. Like, so we got married in March. So like the October before we got married would be about the time that I think I was like, okay, I think I do want to be Catholic.
Yeah.
And so like, even when we were engaged and planning our wedding, like I remember thinking like, I still was not planning on having a Catholic wedding. So like, I wanted to get married at the place where we ended up having our reception. And since we were compromising, since we were getting married, I was like, Elvis wanted to go talk to the priest, and I was like, okay, but that, thinking in my head, like, but that's not going to happen. Like, we're not getting married in the Catholic Church. So we went to the Catholic priest, and he was pretty much talking to the priest like it was a done deal. Like, we were getting married in the Catholic Church. And I remember we left, and I was like, we're not getting married there. But
it was just
ended
the way,
up getting married there.
It was the way Father Jim had kind of like said it, you know, like, well, if you're going to get married, it would be in the church, because
as a Catholic.
Yeah, because I mean, we were looking at a venue and we were considering getting married at the venue, but Father Jim put it like, when you get married, it's in the church. It's either in the chapel or in the sanctuary.
Yeah, so for it to be a valid marriage, a sacramental marriage for him, he would have to get married in the Catholic Church. And I was a baptized Christian, but I wasn't Catholic, so it would be a valid marriage for you, but it would have to be in the church. So we ended up getting married in the Catholic Church, and I ended up converting anyway, so yeah, it all worked out in the end.
It was just kind of like how he put it when we were talking to him. I was kind of like, well, that's the answer, you know. So
in the book, the Trent Horn book, he gives us the Catholic definition, the Catholic Church's definition of marriage, and it says that it is the matrimonial covenant by which a man and a woman establish between themselves a partnership of the whole life, and which is ordered by its nature to the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of the offspring. So when I was reading that, I basically was able to pull out like three main points. So the first one being that marriage is permanent, because it uses the word covenant.
God is eternal, God is permanent. The equation, God is required for there to be something covenantal. And so that's where you get that permanence from. You know, God is the one that binds it.
Another point of marriage being permanent is that a valid marriage can't be dissolved. So even if you get divorced, in God's eyes, you're still married as long as the marriage is valid.
So yeah, the analogy that I used was basically like a tattoo and the permanence of a tattoo. And even though you can have it like lasered removed, usually there's still like a scar or like kind of a faint bleaching of the skin that you see, and so it's still there. Even if you have like the best doctor to do it and you can't see it anymore. They had done studies where they took bodies of cadavers and they opened them up and they saw staining of tattoo ink, like the reds and the blues and the greens on like the thyroid gland. So it's like there's no way that you can get around it. You know, so
like even if you get rid of it, it's still permanent.
Yeah, it's
like
still marked on you. And so that's the way that I was basically saying God's permanence is in the covenant. You know, you whatever you do, you can't break yourself from it. Man can't break himself from it.
So the second thing that we pulled out of that definition in the beginning is that marriage is ordered towards your holiness. So if your vocation is to be married, then that vocation, any vocation really, is ordered towards your holiness. So marriage is kind of like an interesting vocation because unlike the priesthood or being a nun, somebody like at your disposal at all times to help you become more holy and to like assist in your journey in this life towards sainthood. Mm-hmm. A lot of people in today's society view marriage as happiness, and that's not necessarily the case, because you're gonna have times in your marriage where one or both of you are not happy, and in those times you really need to kind of lean on your spouse. There are gonna be times in your marriage when things aren't going right, or you have like dark times, and it's not about your happiness, it's about your holiness. So I think a lot of people, they don't understand that, and they end up resenting their built-up ideals of what they thought marriage was. It's gonna fall short every time. If you're expecting to be married and you're gonna be happy for the rest of your life, I mean, that's not really true.
I mean, I just remember in Unitas, you know,
that was our marriage prep.
Yeah, there was this. They did like a little diagram, and it was kind of like very reminiscent of the Trinity, you know, where you had like God, Son, and Holy Spirit. But except in this diagram, it was God, husband, and wife. And so it's like within anything in the marriage, you know, you have to have God in the equation, because without him, the marriage is going to struggle. It's going to suffer. I mean, marriage, that happens in general, you know. I mean, like for instance, my parents, they've been married forever. They've been married, you know, they've always been together, basically.
They're Catholic.
Yeah,
so.
They're Catholic. Both of their families are Catholic. And, you know, I've seen my parents go through, you know, struggles. Yeah, you know, I mean, everybody sees that in a marriage. So that's normal. It's pretty much, it's natural. You know, it's going to be expected. It's not something that's just, you know, like you were saying, everybody's just going to be happy. You know, I was kind of thinking back when you were talking about that, because one of the things I was mentioning was, you know, people always focus on, I want to find true love. You know, like I want that love, and it's like that's an aspect of the marriage, yes, but there's so much more than that too.
I mean, there's even probably times where in your marriage you're like, you have to remember that you love them, because it's like, I don't really like you right now, but I love you.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to make that choice to continue to love your spouse, because that's what your vows are. I mean, in goodness and in bad, like you can't. Yeah, it's like you can't just love each other only when things are going well. You need each other too when things are going bad. I mean, you still need to remember. That's when you have to make the conscious choice to love your spouse. The thing that we were wanting to talk about is a marriage is open to life.
You asked me, what is the meaning of being open to life? And I said, to me, it's like the universe. Mm-hmm. You know, the universe came into existence, but it didn't just come into existence, because they say that it was always in existence. It was an infinitesimally small point that expanded, right?
Big Bang.
Yes.
Thank a Catholic scientist for
And
the Big
so,
Bang.
So what I was trying to say is, like, life is fulfilling. It's
So like God has always been open to life.
yes.
God created life.
Yeah.
God is life.
Being open to life is that's its natural thing to do. Life is
Begets life.
Yeah, life comes from life, and its order is to bring forth, and so it's always fulfilling.
So in a marriage, you're supposed to be open to life. So that means that you're not supposed to hinder life in any way. So no abortions, no contraception. A lot of Catholics use NFP, and we use NFP. And NFP, would you say that NFP is easy?
No. I mean,
Like, it would be a lot easier to just use birth control.
oh,
If you're trying to avoid children.
yeah. I mean, it's not easy. It takes a lot of discipline, and it takes prayerful thinking and
Deep breathing. So that we don't want to kill each other.
it's not easy. I mean, it's really not. If you explained it to somebody, they would say, like, why would you go through all that? I mean, but there's reasons why you would go through all that if you understood everything.
Part of being married is being open to new life and accepting your children as a gift from God. And it's sometimes they don't always come at the most opportune time, because we've kind of always used NFP. First got married, it was kind of just like, hey, if it happens, it happens. And Abby was born like 10 months after we got married. And with our son, we were able to plan him out a little bit better, because we wanted them to be pretty close in age. So they're all about 2 years and some months apart. Our son came pretty much when we wanted him to. And we were going to plan on having a third one, but Juliana I got pregnant about 6 months before we planned to. So we were kind of like, even though we did know we wanted a third one, it just didn't happen exactly on our timing. But we have this little precious now. So, and then I guess still doing NFP, and right now we are trying to avoid. Technically, we're trying to avoid. And some people like to use the argument of, well, if birth control is sinful then NFP is also sinful because you're trying to avoid pregnancy. But it's like you're still leaving the door open.
Yeah.
So NFP is basically when you have sex on non-fertile days, but you're not using any contraception to like block anything or so it's like you're still being open to God's plan. So the kind of like bonus thing was that when you, if because unfortunately not every couple is like able to have kids for whatever reason. So if you have kids, you catechize them and nurture them and raise them.
Kids, gotta love them.
That's all for our video this week. Advent is coming up next week. We already have our Advent wreath out. Advent starts next Sunday, so I'll probably have a video out on Thursday explaining what my plans are. I'm still kind of hashing it out, so I'm not really sure what, I know what I want to do, it's just how feasible is it. So I'm still kind of hashing that out in my brain. So I'll probably have a video on that on Thursday, kind of explaining what I'm gonna do. That's it for this video. If you liked it, subscribe, pray for us. We will be praying for you guys. And that's it. For real this time. Say bye.
Bye.